Good morning, everybody. So, welcome to JobsNative.com's Marketing Me live at Rizal Technological University. So, today we will be joined by speakers from Firefly Electric Company, PSBHQ, and Ernst and Young Philippines. So, before we start, may we invite everybody for a short prayer.
Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below. Praise Him above the heavenly host. Praise Father, Son, and Holy
Okay, so welcome po. Magandang umaga sa ating lahat. So ready na ba tayo? I'm Shari from Academic Languages. Hope that everybody is excited to learn new things today. So please like and share this video with your friends, and please comment your name and school and type your questions later in our comment box so we can answer them after that. Okay, before we proceed with our discussion, we would like to invite Dr. Magno Kindangan. So I'll introduce Dr. Magno. He has almost 27 years of teaching in RTU. He handled previous positions in the university as a former college secretary, of the College of Education, director of the National Service Training Program, dean of the College of Education, former president of the Association of the Faculty Clubs Inc. from 2014 to 2016, and now currently the Vice President for Academic Affairs. So, Dr. Kindangan, may we invite you over to our screen, opening message to our students who are tuned in this morning. Oh, good morning,
Thank you.
sir.
Hello, am I clear?
Yes, sir. Audible po tayo.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma'am Shai. So let me start. To the Dynamic Director of Rizal Technological University Center for Cooperative Education, Engineer Armando P. Marchas, COE and Student Teachers Coordinators, our partners from Jobs 180, headed by Mr. Kim Chua, respectable speakers of today's conference, students, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Let me warmly welcome all of you to this webinar called Marketing Me. I am glad that amidst the ongoing crisis on public health, there are organizations out there that lead the way in uplifting people's attitudes toward the new normal workplace. We know that in the world today, a lot of people have lost their jobs, either due to downsizing in the human resource or complete shutdown of their workplace brought by the pandemic. For young people who aspire for a stable job, this period seems discouraging. In a larger perspective, it is threatening to the economy. Promoting positivity and productivity among young individuals in these perilous days is exactly what we need to help them embrace the new normal landscape in the industry and fields of their specialization. In a few months, they will be absorbed in the reality of life that they have to find appropriate jobs if they wish to get better in life. Providing youth the best opportunity to transition from economic downturn to competitive economy calls for investing in education and training of the highest possible quality. Equipping youth not only with finely tuned skills, but positive attitudes that match the enormous paradigm shift in labor market requires strong support from organizations like Jobs 180 and RTU. Giving them access to information inherent to this type of webinar levels the playing field so that all aspiring youth can attain and retain productive employment amidst public health and economic crisis. Therefore, to get young people and future adults into stable jobs, pathways from school-based experience to work-focused immersion need to be cleared. With this, I am counting on the COE Center to invest more on this kind of opportunity. I am also counting on our OJT and student teachers who are in attendance today to get the most out of this webinar. Once again, good morning. I hope that you all enjoy the exciting speakers to come. Again, good morning.
Thank you for the warm welcome, Dr. Kendangan. Maraming salamat po for gracing us this morning. So, thank you, sir.
My
See you po
pleasure.
again sa iba pa pong mga sessions ng RTU. Ingat po, sir.
Yeah.
Take care po. Salamat.
Thank you
Okay.
din.
All right. So, this project is launched for you guys. Pangatlong session na natin to sa RTU. So, maraming salamat sa mga patuloy na bumabalik para manood ng seminar natin kahit maaga at malamig. So, ang hirap bumangon kanina. All right. So, here is our schedule for today. So, our first topic, we will be discussing how to stay positive. So, that will be discussed by Firefly Electric Company. Second topic is how to boost productivity at work. Alternative work options will be discussed by Ernst and Young Global Services Philippines. So for the first topic, si Firefly, makikinig kayo dito intently because I want you to know and I want to know also kung paano ba maging positive kasi every day there's always bad news. So magpapasko naman. So we have to keep thinking positive. All right. So for our next session, we invited Miss Thea from PSB Technology Services to discuss productivity tips. So itong productivity tips, hindi nyo lang ito magagamit ngayong nag-aaral pa kayo, pero even after school. So gagamitin nyo rin to kapag nasa workforce na kayo, pag nasa industry na kayo. And lastly, we asked Sir Dennis of Ernst and Young Global Services to discuss alternative work options. So, ano yung mga possible opportunities para sa malapit na mag-graduate? Ano yung mga possible opportunities? Ano yung mga open vacancies ngayon? Mga hiring natin sa iba't ibang industry. So, later on, papakinggan natin yan. So, maraming salamat to everyone who's tuned in. So, thank you. Again, if you haven't done so, please comment your name and school so we can acknowledge. Tapos mamaya yung questions nyo babasahin natin. Okay? So let's go to our first speaker. So Miss Ivy, so siya yung first speaker natin. So Miss Ivy Kua is the Assistant HR Manager for Talent Acquisition and Management. That's for Firefly Electric Company. She has 11 years of HR practitioner experience with a demonstrated history of working in the retail, electronics, food, direct selling, automotive, lighting, and electrical industry. So she is a graduate of educational psychology from De La Salle University, Manila, and she leads the HR talent acquisition and management team of Felco since 2018. So Miss Ivy, if you're here na po, please join our stream. Hi ma'am, good morning. Yeah. Good morning,
Hi,
ma'am.
good morning, Shari.
Good morning po. Ma'am, we have students from RTU. Nababasa ko po yung comments nila. Madami po sa kanila from technology. We have people from ECE. We have people from other engineering. And meron operations
Wow.
management. And, sir.
Mhm.
So
Good
yun po
morning,
yung
everyone.
Yun po yung rundown ng mga courses nila. Halo-halo sila,
Mhm.
ma'am, eh. So, merong marketing, ganyan. So, yung discussion niya po later, pwedeng in general naman po. So, let's try,
Yes.
ma'am, share your screen na lang po para
All
matest
right.
natin kung working na po siya. Ayan. Ayan na, ma'am. I
Ayan.
can see it clearly po. Okay.
All
So,
right.
ma'am, you
Thank
know
you,
the
Shari.
drill. You have 20 minutes and I will be back for the Q&A po. The floor
All
is
right.
yours, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you again, Shari, for the introduction. So, good day, everyone. Good morning. I'm so happy kanina nga sabi ni Shari, no, ang sarap ng gising ngayon. Kasama na rin doon na ang sarap na i-extend yung ating mga tulog. So, anyway, I'm so happy na marami pa rin sa atin talaga ang maaga gumising at nakatune in ngayon sa ating webinar. So, welcome to how to stay positive amidst the challenges brought by pandemic presentation. Actually, this topic is very light, pero very relevant, no, at uh, times like this. So I'm so glad that yun yung sabi ko kanina, you were able to join. So we have a lot kasi na pag-uusapan ngayon, though very light na yung ating topic. So I'm going to ask you guys to utilize the chat. So I know at this time hindi ko siya nababasa, but go ahead if may mga comments kayo, just utilize the chat, no? We all have different experiences that we bring to the table and we can learn a lot from each other as well. So we're going to run through some content and then hopefully you have great takeaways as well from me and from each other. So having said that, let's get started. Let's find out who is here today. Kanina na-mention na rin yung mga courses. So this topic naman is for everyone. So at this time, I want you to go ahead and think of a challenge that you have and in staying positive during this time. Examples kasi could be, for example, kung meron iba sa atin may mga naging part-time jobs or currently working, pwedeng keeping up to work and then yung changing environment, especially for you, no? So during this session, um, my goal for you is to really come up with understandings and then some tips. Like first, understanding the difference between social distancing and physical distancing. So there's a difference kasi between the both. And then second, keeping yourself motivated, engaged, and positive. So aside sa staying positive, kasama dun yung motivated and engaged kasi. And third, ideas for keeping people who rely on you supported and motivated. So let's talk about this quote, no, from Lee Iacocca. Her quote kasi is something that I like for this session. In times of great stress or adversity, it's always best to keep busy, to plow your anger and your energy into something positive. So there's a lot of quotes out there, and there's a lot of stories out there. But in times of stress or adversity, keep busy. Use your anger and energy for good, not for evil, as they say. So let's talk about what motivation is. So what do you think motivation is? Some points, yung iba ang sinasabi, it's an upcoming reward. It's like accomplishing a goal, feeling that you have a purpose, a drive to achieve your goals and passions, inspire something or someone, an ambition to do something that you want, inner drive, emotional energy, and feeling energetic towards life. So yan yung ilan sa mga definitions. But when we look at the definition here about motivation, the general desire or willingness of someone to do something with purpose, that's a big part of it. The reason someone does something and then with an attitude, a way of thinking or feeling about something. So these are the three components of motivation. Most of the time when we talk about these definitions related to motivation, it's really not about the task that you're going to do, not about the project you're going to do, but it's really the outcome that we are after. So for example, kasi sometimes diba, we need to change our thinking a little bit like, I need to do this project, or if you're a student, I got this term paper or finals coming up, but at work, it's like, I got this project and now I'm working from home, may mga ganon. And a good example of this is you're working from home now for some, and maybe, diba, uso ngayon ang homeschooling talaga, so maybe you have siblings at home and kasama kayo na tumutulong nag-homeschool to them. So you've got a lot going on every day. You need the motivation to get through. What's a different way that you can look at that? and that is looking at the outcome. So focus tayo dun sa outcome. How can I do this? Get a great feeling from it, accomplish what I need, but also support the other people. And now your brain starts thinking about it a little differently. And so those of the some of the definitions na related for motivation. And so, what are some of the things that drive us to be motivated? So kung mapansin nyo, meron dyan sa screen, may mga icons din. We've got to have a catalyst. Yun yung pinakauna. That's a trigger or a reason why you need to be motivated. Looking at things a little bit differently. And then, what's the purpose? What will this buy you? What will this get you? And then, what's your desired outcome? Okay, it's not just the task, but the outcome. And then, this is the missing link for a lot of people. What's the incentive? When we say incentive, nandun yung kailangan lang natin siyang matapos eh, pero hindi. Even yung little incentive, like for example, I'm really going to have a good cup of coffee kapag natapos ko tong project na to or itong isang bagay na to. Or I'm going to take a little walk. I'm going to call a friend. Whatever it is for you, the incentive is different, but there's got to be some sort of incentive. And there's the interest in achieving the goal. And that circles back again to what's the catalyst or the purpose. So, cycle siya. If you have no interest, you're not having any motivation. So, what's the interest? What's the desire? These are the components if you're thinking you lack motivation. These are great questions to ask yourself. Why do I have to do it? What's my desired outcome? What's my incentive for doing it? And what interest do I have in it? And if you change your mindset about that, you'll become more motivated. You'll become more motivated. Aside from that, um, you have to have the strong why. That's actually the key here, no? To have the strong why. So now let's talk about being engaged. So how do you say engaged now? Some points are using time well to achieve your goals, being fully present, concentrating your outcomes, mindfulness, being excited about what I am doing, and planning ahead. Definitions are showing enthusiasm or displaying positive energy about something. It's an emotional involvement or commitment. The question is, if you are motivated, are you engaged? Or if you are engaged, are you motivated? You know, these two, they go together. If you are engaged, you are motivated. If you are motivated, you are engaged, which is why we are doing this building process. Now, we're going to positivity naman. And what is being positive? Some points are optimistic, forward thinking, self confident, having hope, seeing good in everyone, thankfulness, starting a gratitude practice is one of the best things you can do for well being, especially during a pandemic and in general. Definitions are thinking in an optimistic way, looking for solutions, expecting good results and success, focusing on making life happier. So, think about how you can change your mindsets. I'm not saying you should always be optimistic or you've got to always be positive because there are times that there are really bad days, right? There are bad hours, bad mornings. But for the most part, we should shift our focus back again to that positive mindset, thinking in an optimistic way. You know the saying, are you part of the problem or part of the solution? So you should set the intention, the good results, I mean. Know the things will get better. Again, I just wanted to say that our current situation is just a moment in time, and there's a lot of opportunities in bad situations, right? There's a ton of opportunities. There are chances for people to step up and think of solutions. So here are some tips to stay positive, but I'm sure many of you there have been doing and applying already, no, this. So nandiyan yung breathing, kumbaga, ayun nga, having a positive mindset, you still remain calm. And then sleep. Sleep actually is very important. Kahit sabihin natin na ang daming oras to stay late every day, pero sleep still is important. Eat healthy, work on fun projects you have been putting off, baka yung mga na-set aside natin before, pwedeng balikan yon. learn something new. Um, even, kumaga, pwede siyang a hobby before na hindi na nagagawa. So now is the perfect time for that. And then skill, you could attend, yun nga, yung mga e-learning, mga digital courses, or attending different free webinars. Turn off the news. So, hindi naman ibig sabihin na to is totally hindi maririnig ng, makikinig or manonood ng news, no? Siguro, pwedeng once a day, pero don't bombard yourself na sobrang daming news, lalo na kung mga negative, no? It could really affect din yung ating mental well-being. Explore new or revisit old music. Get outside, but of course, remember physical distancing. So, as we talk about it and bring it all together, just a little recap of what we have gone through. Motivation, it's the general desire or willingness of someone to do something. Purpose, something we have emotional involvement and energy around. And attitude, something we are optimistic about. So when we talk about focus, this is what we really want to talk about, right? What you focus on is what you can control. It's just that simple, di ba? Very simple yon. You are what you focus on. Your words, your actions, your emotions, your mind, your relationships, lahat yan, no? You just need to focus on what you can control. When things don't go our way, it's so easy to get engaged in wrong thoughts. On the good days, we try to stay positive and be productive. On the bad days, we sulk into the worry of predicting what the future is going to be like, di ba? Minsan advance tayo mag-isip tas more on negative siya. So, um, we imagine it and then we start living it, which leaves us feeling helpless and scared. Thoughts fire our, kumbaga they fire before emotions. That's why when we think negatively, we feel negative emotions. But there's a way around this. Ako, negative one. I try my best to bring my attention back to the most important aspect of all. So I ask myself these three questions all the time. What is worrying me? What is within my control? What matters most to me and what can I do about it? So yun na yung mga tatlo na yun. When we focus on what we can control, our thoughts empower us and then trigger positive emotions. Now, in this slide, there is a clarification. I think kanina na-mention ko during the earlier part. While social distancing is still widely used, it may be sending the wrong message and contributing to social isolation. Rather than sounding like you have to socially separate from your family and friends, physical distancing simplifies the concept with the emphasis on keeping 6 feet away from others, di ba? So keep your distance, but stay close. So how do we do it? Taking the time to connect with friends and family to strengthen connections will help us get through this pandemic. But we need to be responsible about it. Remember, this distance means that you don't gather in large groups, including mga extended family dinners, mga play dates, or sa neighborhood na mga, for example, may mga basketball games. So walang ganon. But that doesn't mean you can stay connected in other ways, such as phone or video calls. We're fortunate actually to be in the age of technology where connecting instantly with someone on the other side of the country is possible. During times like this of quarantine and isolation, it's important we stay connected virtually with the people in our lives. So, social connection. So, what's the importance of social connection? This is based actually in one study. It's a meta-analytic review on social relationships and mortality risk. Data were extracted on several participants' characteristics across, I think, 148 studies yon. And then they have around 300,000 participants. So madami nag-participate. So bakit ginawa yung study na to? Because some experts think that social isolation is bad for human health. The quality and quantity of individuals' social relationships has been linked not only to mental health, but also to both morbidity and mortality. So humans are naturally social kasi, diba? Results show, as flash on the screen, improves the odds of survival of premature death by 50%, and lack of social connection was found to be more harmful than not exercising and to be twice as harmful as obesity. Okay? So, there. So, social connection talaga, it's really important. Now, from Brené Brown naman, she defines connection as the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. So that's actually a beautiful way to think about connection. So, what are the tools that you use to stay connected? So, I'm sure all of you there are using some of this. First, syempre yung ating phone. We use text message or pag may mga meetings, gusto lang natin na maiba, we either use Google Meet or Zoom, Facebook Messenger, FaceTime, Viber, emails, and then calls. So, napakadami actually na mga channels or platforms, tools that we could use to stay connected. And then, ideas naman on how to connect with family and friends. So these are just some examples, but I'm sure kayo mas marami na kayong nagagawa ngayon, no, na virtual lang. So there's a picture there that a family is doing a parang video call, virtual, no, connecting with other family members or peers. And then meron dyan na merong cup of coffee. So ngayon kasi minsan at work, we have this coffee meeting. So lahat nagko-coffee while doing the meeting or short updates. And then yoga or other mga parang Zumba, ganyan. Virtual na rin siya, no, ginagawa. Everything is possible now. Even dinners, since matagal-tagal na hindi tayo nakakalabas or we can't go to restaurants or kumbaga be with our other family members or peers. So, pwede rin siyang gawin. And there's this one na medyo patok ngayon, no, yung Netflix party. So, there are a lot. I'm sure kayo din, marami din kayo masasuggest na ginagawa nyo na rin ngayon. And now, there's this team member engagement. So, it means the emotional commitment a team member has to the team. So, when we say team member, it doesn't mean a team member na as in team sa work, no? It could be your family, it could be your peers. So, very important din kasi yung emotional commitment na meron ang bawat isa. Okay? So, my question to all of you is how you are engaging your team members. I mean, your family, your peers. Pwede din to na in a community, sa community ninyo, how do you connect with them? How do you make sure na engage din sila? So either you are a boss or engaging your peers, your family, a school team, could be a volunteer in a community, as mentioned. There are some of the ways to engage them. So first, meron dyan yung be a positive example, help them diagnose the issue, use feedback, set goals, help them to be successful as well, focus on behavior, encourage them, coach them. Okay, so yan lang yung mga ilan sa mga ways to keep them connected and engaged. So, in ending our session for our Q&A, well, if for example, yung iba naman sa inyo is wala namang matanong, I would also like to get ideas from you. So, at least share 3 that you'll take away from today's short discussion. Just type and we'll read later if still have time. This is from an old adage naman. I am paraphrasing. You cannot direct the wind, but you can trim your sail, so you can steer your vessel no matter which way the wind blows. So this means you are in control and you just need to do things to make sure that they will work for you. We are buffeted by events, diba? Ang daming nangyari that are beyond our control, but we can still react constructively. So, until our next webinar, I want all of you, to stay motivated, stay positive, stay engaged in what's important to you, not others. Stay connected with people who are important to you. Stay engaged with your teams, your family, your peers. Stay creative. As for me, I stay positive by trusting our Lord God. And let us always be grateful, diba? Every day yan. Kumbaga, start of the day, let's be grateful. So thank you guys for attending, for listening. On behalf of Firefly Electric and Lighting Corporation, light up your career. You may visit our jobs180.com page now for Felco Careers. So thank you everyone. Good morning.
Thank you for that, Miss Ivy. Salamat po. Ma'am, mauna kaya ako, ma'am, habang nag-iisip sila. Nagtasa ako, ma'am. So, ano yung 3
Okay.
takeaway points ko? So, number 1, gratitude practice. Number acknowledging bad moments or bad days. So, hindi kailangan happy all the time. So, okay lang na may bad days, may bad moments.
Yes.
And number
Mm.
3, focus on what you control. Ayan. So, yan sa
Mhm.
akin guys. If you guys,
Wow.
meron kayo naisip, put it in our comment box. Okay? So, before we proceed to the questions, ma'am, habang nag-iisip sila, meron akong tanong, ma'am.
Okay.
Kayo po, ano yung na-discover nyo na nagsa-spark joy pala sa inyo ngayong nasa quarantine tayo? Yung na-realize nyo, ay,
Sobrang
masaya pala
Oo,
to.
'di ba? Sobrang dami, oo. Actually, nagsa-spark joy nga ngayon is apply nga rin 'to namin sa office, eh, kasi currently din I'm also handling employee engagement. So, yung nauso na plantito-plantita, ganyan. So, ginawa namin 'yon
Kasama ka na dun.
kasi oo, kasama din doon. So, ang dami, even nga actually yung pag-organize yung mga gamit na before wala kang oras, 'di ba, gawin yun. Ngayon nagagawa mo siya. So, nakakatuwa lang din kasi, tinry ko siyang i-share sa sa office na gano'n yung activity, sobrang dami pala. So, even sila, pare-parehas pala kayo during the lockdown na naghahanap din ng mga ibang puwedeng pagkaabalahan. So, yun, actually sobrang dami kaya kaya dapat nga hindi talaga tayo nagsasulki in one area. Kasi there's a lot of ways talaga to stay positive and motivated every day. Mm.
Alright, okay. So guys, wala? Walang ayaw nila magtanong, ma'am. So,
Oo,
ayun. So, ma'am,
kahit
siguro
walang
next,
takeaways 'no?
wala. So, ma'am, siguro next question ko na lang. Ah,
Mhm,
kasi ma'am, yung mix po natin, madami po sa kanila nasa tech. So, maraming CE, electronic engineer, ECE,
mhm,
astronomy technology. So, nandito siya sa mga sciences, ma'am. So,
mm.
can you just encourage these people, scientists, mga science majors, mga ganyan, to apply to your company?
Okay. Well, with Firefly, actually kahit nga nag-pandemic, tuloy pa rin yung expansion 'no. We have a lot of, kasi in terms of products, flagship si Firefly pero there are different brands as well. We have Shin, Schneider Electric, Royu, and others. So, go ano lang, if you have time, browse our page, check nyo lang doon kung ano yung tingin nyo mag-fit. Actually, now naman, hindi, I think with other HR as well, hindi na kami sobrang strict na pagkatingin pala ng profile, okay, hindi siya match, wag na to. Hindi. Now, talagang we take time also um, to know the person, kilalanin. Kasi there are some skills na pwede hindi siya ganun related sa course, pero pag nakita mo naman sa kanya that that person is someone who has a potential, pwede kasi we have trainings naman eh. For example, sa sales, we have bootcamp. So, yung product knowledge na training and other orientation, nabibigay yon. So, it's really up to the person kung paano siya makapag-adjust, kung paano siya mag-work na kapag nagbigay na sa kanya yung trabaho. So, ganun lang, wag masyadong focus na, kasi ito yung course ko eh. So, parang nalilimitahan natin na sa ganit, ito na yung mga pwede kong applyan. Kung lalo na ngayon, during this lockdown, mas madami kayong na-realize eh. I'm sure nag-reflect din kayo na, ito yung gusto kong gawin. Gusto ko, align pa rin sa course na tinapos ko or matatapos ko. Pero in some ways, ganito yung skills na gusto ko ma-build up. So, pwede yun. Walang imposible ngayon. Pwede siya. Uso nga ngayon actually sa office na nagdo-dual function. Kumbaga, kunwari kami sa HR, kung dati recruitment lang, for example ako, recruitment, yun yung gagawin ko. Ngayon hindi. Kailangan talagang multifunction siya. Nag-recruitment ka, you do employee engagement, nagte-training ka, so halo-halo siya. I'm sure with other functions din, for other departments or sila sa mga courses sila, ganun din yun. Mm-mm.
Alright. So, thank you, Miss Ivy. Ma'am, may nag-thank you. Sabi niya, very comprehensive and relevant po. Helpful not only to students, but also to me as an employee. Ayan, ma'am. From Crystal E, saan na yan, ma'am?
Wow,
Bohol po
thank
yan.
you. Ay, wow,
Alright.
thank you.
So,
Mm-mm.
Opo. Ma'am, I guess that's it. So thank you po
Mhm.
for joining us. If you guys have no more questions, again, thank you, Miss Ivy, for being here this morning. If you
Mhm.
guys want to check out Firefly's list of vacancies, it's jobsnity.com/felco careers, or you can go to jobsnity.com/RTU and you will find the Firefly Electric Company along with the other preferred partners of your school. So thank you, Miss
Okay.
Ivy, again
Thank you
for being with
also.
us.
Bye.
Thank
Mhm.
you, ma'am. Bye po. Alright, ayan. So, kung may mga na-discover kayong bago, guys, please share it with us kung may mga bago kayong sources of joy. Ayan, para lahat tayo maging positive. Okay? So, for our next speaker, so we have Miss Nina. Sorry. We will be playing a short video. So, this one is dedicated for you guys para lang ma-refresh. So, kung hindi kayo naka-attend ng mga previous session, ito yung unang-unang tinuro. Okay? So, we will play a short video. It's about the resume, like lang 2 to 3 minutes, I think. So, we will be back after that video. Okay? Diyan lang kayo.
Step 1. Register. Go to www.jobs180.com and click Register now. In choosing your resume link, use your full name so that it looks professional and is easy to recall by potential employers, and fill out the other information needed.
After you register, go to your email address and validate your jobs180.com account to activate.
Step 2. Complete your resume link. When creating your resume link, make sure to complete your personal and contact information, your profile picture, and your cover photo. You can also put your objectives, work options, work experience, certifications, achievements, skills and languages, references, and portfolio. Your resume link also features different themes and a cover photo. Step 3. Submit your resume link. If you're qualified, click Submit Resume Link, or you can even share the job vacancy with your friends. You can also apply for jobs outside jobs180.com by sending your resume link through any platform. Register. Complete. Submit your resume link. So what are you waiting for? Turn your life around by creating your own resume link and applying for your dream job.
Ayan, okay. So, ayan. So, yun yung steps natin sa paggawa ng resume link. So, kung wala pa kayo nagawa na ganon, kailangan makagawa kayo bago kayo makapag-apply. Okay? So, before proceeding to our next speaker, gusto ko lang i-share yung reason ko na na-discover. So, kanina nag-discuss tayo, ano ba yung mga things that is making us feel positive. Yan. So, ako, bago kong recently na-discover, entertaining manood ng live video sa Facebook. Hindi ako bumibili. Yung mga nagsisell ng bags, mga nagsisell ng ukay-ukay, hindi ako bumibili. Pero, nanonood ako. So, I find that really entertaining. Libre, walang bayad. Kasi hindi naman ako bumibili. Pero, ang na-realize ko, alam mo kung ano yung na-miss ko? Na-miss ko yung interaction with other human beings, with social interaction yun. So, gusto kong panoorin yung live na may ginagawa sila. Yun, so, I find it entertaining. So, kayo, ano yung sa tingin yung entertaining para sa inyo? Yung iba nakikinig ng music videos, yung iba into meditation. Yan, so, nauso rin yan, meditation. Okay. So, sorry, pa-plug. On October 27, so that is another webinar. Ini-invite namin yung RTU to join that. Ang employers na in-invite namin doon, mga Mandaluyong and Pasig-based companies. So, maganda kung makakapunta kayo doon. That will be 2 to 4 p.m. So, hindi siya maaga. So, pwede kayong hindi gumising na maaga unless may classes. So, 2 to 4 p.m. hapon siya. At ang i-discuss ay managing online identity, developing leadership skills, and work opportunities in Mandaluyong and Pasig. Ayan. So, yun yung i-discuss natin on October 27. So, kung gusto nyo makinig, last leg na yon, pwede kayong pumunta, open to everyone. Make sure lang na makapag-register tayo. Ang certificate for this seminar will be released via the COE office. So, isend namin sa kanila yung certificate, tapos sila yung mag-distribute sa lahat ng nakapag-register. Okay? So, inaantay lang natin yung second speaker. Okay? So, I'm looking at your courses, guys. So, thank you for all those who came. So, meron tayong Astronomy Technology. Meron tayong DSME, Industrial Technology. So, ECE, hello. Computer Engineering, ayan. Operations Management. Ano pa po nandito? Mechanical Engineering. We also have ICT. So, good morning to you guys. Thank you for being here. Architecture. We have, ayan, ang dami astronomy. Industrial Technology. Ayan, naghanap ako ng ibang course. We have architecture, OM, ayan. So, mostly, ganun yung mga courses natin. Okay? So, again, if wala pa kayong comment, so please comment your name and name, school, and course doon sa ating comment box. And then, yung questions nyo, pwede nyo ilagay dito, plus mamaya babasahin natin. Okay? So, I'm just stalling because I'm waiting for the next speaker to get ready. Ayan. So, for the meantime, I would like to tell you the next set of webinars. So, tomorrow, kung free kayo, meron ding seminar on nag-invite kami ng guidance counselor bukas. So bukas, mag-talk kami about coping with the challenges of the new normal. So kung gusto nyo sumama, kung gusto nyo maki-join, pwede rin bukas yon. On Friday, that will be for Peso Bulacan. So this is a partnership with the Provincial Peso of Bulacan, and we will be doing the webinar for them. So ang normal modules natin yung interview, tapos nata kayo, I think you've done interviews. And lastly, yung bago sa kanila na hindi natin na-discuss with RTU is employee-employer engagement. So, ang mag-discuss nun from Dole Peso. Speaker nila Bulacan. Okay, Bulacan Peso. So, kasama sila doon. On October 27, yun yung yun yung ating last leg, yung sinabi ko a while ago. Yan, October 27, Mandaluyong and Pasig Company. So, if you are looking for jobs, doon magandang mag-join sa Mandaluyong and Pasig na companies on October 27. Ayan. I think Miss Leia is here. Sorry. Ayan. So, yan. So, Miss Nina pala, sorry. So, for our second speaker is Miss Nina Arribe. So, she is the HR manager for PSBTSI. So, Miss Nina is a certified human resource professional, alumnus with over 16 years of experience in end-to-end management of global workplaces. So, her diversified skills include foundations, process-specific and leadership development trainings, quality and compliance, client relations, functional and HR business partnership. Ms. Nina is also a Six Sigma Green Belt certified with proven skills in project management and process streamlining. So she specializes in leadership and organizational development, addressing the pressing needs of the business in developing high potential talents. So Miss Nina, are you there? Are you ready? Good
Yes,
morning, ma'am.
hi. Good morning, Sherry. How are you?
Morning, ma'am. Good morning. Ayan. So, ma'am, our audience is ready for you. So, you have the floor. You have 20 minutes, and I will be back for the Q&A later.
Okay, I'll go ahead and share my
I will
screen
start
now.
sharing your screen. Yes, po.
Yes. Okay. All right,
So,
can
we
you
can
guys
check
see it?
if it's functioning. Yes, ma'am. It's loading.
Okay.
Ayan. Okay na, ma'am. So, I leave you, ma'am. The
Ayan.
floor is yours. Be back in 20
Okay,
minutes.
thanks, Sherry. Okay, guys, I hope naka-tune in pa kayo ngayon for our session today. And I was also very inspired by the first speaker. Actually, agree yun sa discussion nila kanina that you're not supposed to limit yourself in whatever capabilities that you can do. Kanina, di ba, in-introduce ako ni Shari, you wouldn't believe the journey that I had going to this field of HR. Actually, ang undergraduate degree ko is computer science. Diba? But I actually found my passion and my niche here in HR and learning and development. And nagpursige ako. I studied post-baccalaureate degree in human resources and really took up a lot of other certifications so that I can really catch up and be good at the passion that I really found in human resources and L&D. So today, I'm very, very excited to share with you some ideas on how we can boost our productivity. I know yung title kanina that was shared with everyone is how to boost productivity at work, but kanina when we introduce yung mga audience or participants natin today, I know some of you are still in school, right? Probably in your last year of studies, graduating, could be possibly mga fresh grads din. And I know may mga nakatune in din na faculty and staff din sa school, and there could be some of us who are already in the workforce, right? So the topic that we're going to discuss right now and the tips that I'm going to share with you in boosting productivity can actually be used even if you're still in school, right? If you're already at work, like an intern or even full time, and kahit sa bahay, right? Because we all have to also be productive at home, di ba? Mga chores natin, syempre hindi natin pwedeng kalimutan yun. And of course, preparing everyone to launch your career, right, in the workplace. And right now, ang terminology na nga is global workplace, right? Kasi lahat ng mga companies ngayon really are going global. Yan, meron silang footprint, not just sa Philippines, but international na yung market and clients and customers ng mga companies nowadays. Also, the things that we're going to share with you today, you can actually do this if you're working from home, right? Or kahit kapag kabalik sa office. So, yung mga tips natin or the things that we will cover today, we can actually apply it kahit remote work tayo or pagbalik na natin sa physical workplace natin. For those who are even, back to their office right now, we can apply this. And for those who are very fortunate na work from home pa rin, once, our company decides na, okay, back to work na tayo, magagamit natin itong mga tips na to. Okay, so we could go ahead and start our discussion today. So first is, what is productivity ba? So ano yung mga things na pumapasok sa isip natin kapag inisip, ano yung productivity, right? First of all, merong task or may goal, right? So lahat naman ng mga ginagawa natin in life, right? At work, sa school, mga personal things, right? Kailangan meron tayong goal, right? May task. Kaya sasabi natin, ano ba yung pinupursu mo, di ba? Sabi ka doon sa isang coffee commercial, para kanino ka ba bumabangon? Yan. So, ano yung task or goal? Kasi ito yung measurement natin kung ano ba yung, how the success look like? Ano ba yung, natin, kailangan nating ma-accomplish, di ba? So, nagsisimula yan in identifying our task or our goal. Next, of course, kailangan yung task or yung goal na yon ma-complete natin siya or ma-accomplish natin, right? So, meron yang end, meron tayong patutunguhan, ano ba yung end nung actual task or goal natin. And kaakibat dyan or connected dyan, yung lagi nilang sinasabi kapag when we talk about productivity, efficiency. 'Di ba? Ano yan parang lagi nasasabi, anong difference ng being effective versus being efficient? Sabi nila, ano yan, quality versus quantity, right? So, efficiency is, ang common definition niya is how quickly or how well you do something, right? In the most smart way possible or pinakamabilis na paraan, right? Sabi nga nila, 'di ba, you work smart, right? Not work hard. Pero syempre, kailangan pa rin, I want to remind everyone na hard work is still very important kasi our efforts really count at the end of the day kasi makikita natin yung desired results or output. So, yan yung mga words when kanina nagpe-prepare ako for this session. Ano ba yung mga things na or words na pumapasok sa akin or nare-remember ko when talking about productivity? And I'm pretty sure you guys also share the same thing, right? So malamang nung tinanong ko na what is productivity, some of these words also popped up sa isip nyo na okay, it's all about task, goal, right? Completing that task, having that desired result or output. Kasi it's not just all about completion 'di ba? Kailangan andun tayo sa set na standard, right? Na pinapagawa sa atin, let's say, ng boss natin sa kumpanya or even sa school, right? May particular standard rin yan sa mga projects natin and mga theses, right? And other performance tasks. And of course, how we can do it as efficient as possible. So, yan yung definition natin to lay down the, our alignment on what is productivity all about. Now, we're going to share powerful tips to increase our productivity. Yan. So, ang goal natin is at the end of this session, makakuha kayo ng bits and pieces na ma-apply nyo, right? Practical application tayo. Ma-apply nyo sa life nyo, in school, at work, or even at home, right? And yun talaga yung goal natin na sometimes yung may mga things tayo na mareremind tayo, marerefresh tayo, narinig ko na yan, okay? And we also want to have yung mga aha moments natin today, di ba? Mga light bulb experience natin na parang, oo nga no, that makes sense, or bago yan sa pandinig ko, no? So, if ever may mga ganun kayo, yung mga parang na-refresh kayo or na-remind kayo, you just put it in the chat box or the comments lang. Or if meron kayong mga aha moments today, right? Yung mga parang, ano yan, nabago yan So you can also put it in the comments as well para later we can, discuss it and share it with the rest of the group para, we can learn from each other too. Okay. For today, when it comes to boosting our productivity, meron tayong dalawang foundational perspective, okay, that I want to share with you. So, lahat ng mga tips natin will revolve around these two foundational perspectives or concept. First is, we have to be able to set smart goals. Yan. Set smart goals. Palagay ko merong iba sa inyo narinig na kung ano yung ibig sabihin ng smart, okay? Di lang to yung smart na phone provider natin or being smart, right? Being bright in school or mataas yung IQ, but ano siya, abbreviation siya or mnemonic siya. Okay? So, SMART. So, sabi dito, we have to set goals that are S for specific, okay? M for measurable, A for achievable, R for relevant, and time-bound, right? So, kailangan in life, whenever we have a task or we do something, kailangan meron tayong SMART goal, right? You have to be as specific as possible, right? And dapat measurable yon, meaning meron kayong definition kung what does success look like. Paano ko malalaman kung naging successful ba ako, kung na-complete ko ba siya, na-accomplish ko ba, ano yung desired results, okay? And of course, dapat achievable siya. Hindi yung, okay, like, isip ka, mag-iipon ako ng, mag-iipon ako ng 1,000,000 at the end of the year. Ayun pala, ang laman pa lang ng bank account mo, 1,000 pesos pa lang. So, ilang buwan na lang, di ba? Ilang araw na lang. So, unless, di ba, manalo tayo sa mga lotto or something na ganyan, medyo long shot yun, di ba? Or, let's say, mag-lose ako ng weight until the end of the year ng 50 pounds. Hala, kaya ba yun, right? Unless, di ba, talagang mag-crash diet ka or baka magkasakit ka naman kapag ginawa mo yun in 3 months lang. So, dapat achievable yung goals natin. And relevant, okay? Relevant sa ginagawa natin, whether it's in school, right? Whether sa office natin, related siya dun sa task natin or sa role, sa job natin or sa role natin, even sa bahay. Okay? And time-bound. So, laging dapat magsaset ka ng deadline. And that's where I want to transition to our next foundational perspective, which is prioritizing wisely. Okay? When we prioritize wisely, we have to be able to base it on the deadline. Siyempre, yung priority natin, kailangan, yung una muna na kailangan na, di ba? Kunwari, meron tayong deadline bukas. Siyempre, unahin mo yun versus dun sa deadline mo na next week pa. Right? And yung calculated impact, di ba? So, ano ba yung magiging impact nito sa buhay natin, sa school life natin, sa work natin? Kailangan, yun yung mga dalawang factors wherein you will actually consider on being able to prioritize. Yan. Also, one of the best practice that I have then for myself, and sinishare ko din to sa team members ko, sa teammates ko in the office and, outside work as well, is when it comes to deadline, I love doing or setting self-imposed deadline. For example, sinabi ng professor or ni boss na ang deadline is Friday na, 'di ba? Para makasigurado tayo na ma-meet natin yung deadline na yun, I set internal deadlines or self-imposed deadlines, okay, for myself or for my team. That means, in our mind, dapat ang deadline Thursday. Okay? So, at least a day before or depende kung gaano nyo pwedeng agahan pa yung pag-set ng deadline nyo, diba? In that way, pag natapos nyo siya ng Thursday, any technical problem or may kailangan kayong i-tweak, di ba? Meron tayo mga last minute changes. Meron ka pang time. Pero kapag sinet mo na agad na ay Friday yung deadline, then wala. Kapag may kailangan ka pang mga i-update or i-change doon sa ano natin, dun sa presentation natin or dun sa task na na-accomplish natin, then magkukulang na tayo ng time. So, andun na yung magkakaram na tayo, di ba? Tapos, magmamadali na tayo i-submit, whatever it is, hindi na siya quality work yung masasubmit natin. So, gusto natin, magkaroon tayo ng parang internal deadline, which is actually earlier than yung ine-expect nung pagbibigyan natin ng professor natin, right? Ng boss natin, or ng customers, or ng clients natin. So again, we will always go back to setting smart goals and prioritizing all throughout the different tips that I'm going to share with you. Yan, punta na tayo sa first tip. Okay? First tip is creating a system. Okay? It is being able to develop a to-do tracker. Okay? Yan ha, operative word natin ngayon. Tracker. Okay? Kasi madalas natin naririnig to-do list lang, di ba? Yan. So, sa atin, hindi tayo magke-create, or yung first tip ko sa inyo is, hindi tayo magke-create ng to-do list lang, to-do tracker. Okay? Kasi, dun sa to-do tracker natin, gusto nating i-apply yung SMART methodology tsaka yung self-imposed deadline. Kasi pag sinabi mo to-do list di ba? Eto, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or minsan nakabullet, right? Minsan nilalagang pang star, asterisk, ganyan, di ba? Nakalista lang kung ano yung gagawin mo. Pero hindi mo alam kung alin doon yung kailangan mo unahin, right? Or i-prioritize. So, pwede kang, you can use Excel, right? I know a lot of people na gusto pa rin talaga yung nagsusulat, right? Sa mga notebook or sa planner, you can do that. Pero sa tabi ng to-do list mo or ng task mo, dapat nakalagay doon, kailan ba yung deadline? Okay? Right? And if ever may mga comments ka pa or description, you can even put it in ayan, Excel tracker nga table. There are a lot of online resources din na you can actually use to create a to-do tracker, not just really a to-do list. Okay? Next is track and limit how much you are spending on task. Okay? Para ma-achieve natin yung full potential ng productivity natin, kailangan nating orasan yung sarili natin. Okay? Hindi kasi pwedeng, paano natin mamimit yung deadline natin kung we just take all our time in one task. Hindi natin tinatayman yung sarili natin on kailan ba natin siya kailangan matapos, right? Malamang maririnig nyo to if you are already working or probably kapag narinig nyo na to sa ibang concepts, right? Yung time and motion study, di ba? Sometimes kasi napaka-negative ng connotation kapag sinasabi ng, sabihin sa'yo ng boss mo na, sige, i-track mo every 30 minutes yung lahat ng mga ginagawa mo, ha? Minsan, yan, nakaka-offend sa atin, di ba? Parang ano ba to? Hindi ako tinatrust, ganyan. Pero, you know what? Once you start doing it, you would realize na may benefit siya. Okay? Kasi, nakikita mo na parang minsan kasi marirealize mo na, natapos na yung araw ko, natapos na yung 9 hours ko, 9 working hours kasi tayo usually, right? With 1 hour lunch break plus 30 minutes pa na mga short break. So, yun yung nagko-compose ng 9 hours natin. Pero sa totoo lang, 7.5 lang talaga yung actual work hours. Minsan, yung 7.5 na yun, lilipas, hindi natin alam kung saan siya napunta. Okay? Kaya maganda din yung nagkaganon tayo, nagtatracker tayo kung ano ba nangyayari sa akin every 30 minutes. So kapag inassign mo tong task na to, okay, I have to complete this in 1 hour. So makikita mo na, lumagpas ka ba or hindi? What are the things na pwede mong gawin para sa susunod hindi mo malagpasan yung limit or deadline na binigay mo para sa susunod pwede mo na talagang ma-accomplish yung goal mo. Okay? Next is calendar, okay? Yung mga gumagamit na dito ng Outlook, okay? Kahit sa Gmail, meron tayo nito okay? So, once na nag-start na kayo mag-work or kahit ngayon kapag meron kayong mga things to do or even sa planner, right? I know, merong mga bumili ng planner at the start of the year, yung iba hindi nagamit kasi nga because of the pandemic. Pero you can still do that, right? You calendar, you calendar everything, calendar it, right? Kahit na yung breaks nyo, okay, kung nagwo-work na kayo or kahit nag-aaral kayo, you actually make sure that you plot time for your break. Kasi self-care yan Okay? Hindi ka pwedeng dire-diretso ka lang magwo-work. Sometimes, minsan pag masyado tayong focus, diba? Gumagawa ka ng presentation, gumagawa ka ng something, ang tagal mo na pala doon, diba? So, unlike kapag naka-calendar siya, magpa-pop up yan, mga reminder tayong pwedeng iset na, okay, kailangan ko na mag-break. Okay, so pause ka muna, break ka muna, o balik ka na lang uli sa work. Kasi kailangan mo ring ipahinga yung eyes mo, right? Yung mind mo, so that creative ideas can continue flowing yan. Huwag natin kakalimutan yung self-care natin. So, that's the first tip on creating a system. Also, related to that, our first tip, we have to make sure na we organize our workplace, including the tools. Okay? So, kung nasa office na tayo, or nasa school tayo, hindi pwedeng tambak-tambak yung nasa paligid natin kasi ang hirap maging productive kung ang daming mga eyesore, yung tinatawag nila, di ba? Nakaka-distract. Okay? If you're working naman, mostly sa laptop or sa computer, nakakita na ba kayo nung desktop na ang dami-daming icon? Di ba? Ako, pag ganun yung desktop ko, naguguluhan ako, kaya tinatry ko i-organize yung mga icon kasi parang ang gulo-gulo niya na di ba? So yung mga tools din natin, email, yan, yung email natin. Pag marami kang unread emails, di ba? Parang nakaka-overwhelm siya, papasok ka pa lang, 1,000. So kapag hindi mo kiniklear yung mailbox mo, hindi mo binabasa regularly yung mga emails mo, magpapatong siya na magpapatong, 'di ba? Tataas na tataas yung email count mo. So mas lalo siyang nakakagulo, nakakawala ng parang drive na magtrabaho. Hindi mo alam kung saan ka na, ano na yung prioritize mo, ano na ba yung uunahin mo. So, ayan, organizing our tools, our emails, and even yung physical workplace natin. Next, make room for surprises. Okay? Kahit naman na anong plano natin lagi, di ba? Life's full of surprises. Also, yan, sa work, di ba? Or even sa school, biglang may surprise something na papagawa sa'yo, nakaplano ka na, di ba? Kasi nag-create ka na nga ng system, pero biglang may darating na something else na wala sa plano mo. That's why they say na yung full productivity ng mga tao, it's usually 85 to 90% of your hours that you spend. So for example, 'di ba kanina na-discuss natin, typically mga 7.5 hours ang ano natin work hours. Ang equivalent ng 85 to 90% diyan. So dapat ibablock mo lang mga 6.5 okay to 7 hours lang. Magtira ka ng 30 minutes to 1 hour for the surprises. Okay? Yung mga things na bigla-bigla nilang darating. Okay? Or, pwede rin na parang baka kailangan mo ng, ng breather, right? Or, kagaya nga sabi natin, minsan mag-over the limit ka dun sa kinalculate mo or tinansya mo na time na kailangan mong gawin yung task. So, hindi mo pwedeng i-exhaust kasi ang mangyayari niyan, mag-overtime ka na mag-overtime, okay? And that's actually scientifically calculated na talagang peak of productivity lang talaga is about 85 to 90% of the actual work hours. Kasi nga we have to make room for mga ad hoc and surprises such as yung diniscuss natin ngayon. Okay, number 2, work on the most important things first. Okay, I'm not sure if na-encounter nyo na to before, yung Eisenhower matrix, right? Urgent versus important. Okay, so nakahati siya into 4 quadrants, right? Those that are urgent and important, itong nasa number 1, you have to do it. Okay, so this is how you will prioritize things, diba? Yung sa foundational perspective natin, okay? Those that are important but not urgent, you can plan for it, right? You set project plans or deadlines. So, pwede mong, okay, kailan ba siya kailangan, right? Kasi hindi naman siya urgent eh, pero importante siya. Kailangan mo siyang spend ng time and effort. Pagplanuhan talaga siya maigi on how you can deliver the desired results. Yung number 3, not important but urgent, okay? May mga boss tayo dito, so pwede tayo mag-delegate, 'di ba? May mga team members tayo. Pero paano kapag hindi ako boss, 'di ba? Ako lang ay team member or estudyante lang ako working in a team, right? Meron kayong thesis, group project or what not. Then you capitalize on each other's strength, right? Pag-usap-usap kayo sa team nyo na, sino bang pwedeng gumawa nito? Kasi ito, ginagawa ko na to eh. Sino bang magaling dito? At yung tao na yon na mas magiging efficient sa paggawa ng task na to, right? And 4, yung mga not urgent and not important, pareho siyang not. So, eliminate na natin. Baka naman nasa to-do list nyo pa, pero hindi naman, or to-do tracker nyo pa, pero hindi naman pala talaga siya impacting sa life nyo, sa school or sa work, or even sa bahay. Next, tackle your most challenging task before lunch. Okay, so na-share naman sa inyo ni Shari na I've been working in a global workplace, right? Mostly mga BPOs. So, ang lunchtime namin is middle of the night. So, whatever it is, whatever your lunchtime is, right? Technically, yung first half of the day, doon nyo kailangan i-cover or gawin na agad yung mga things na most challenging for you. Kasi pag nilagay mo pa yan at the latter part of the day na, for sure, mas lalo nang madadrag at hindi mo na talaga siya magagawa. Okay? I also want to share with you na din to eh, part din to ng 7 Habits. Kung narinig nyo na yung book ng The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. I really love those concepts, yung 7 Habits. Part to ng Habit 3, yung first things first. Right? So, it says here na you have to do what you have to do before the things that you want to do. Diba? Iba yung want versus you have to, right? Kasi minsan, by default, doon tayo sa ito yung favorite na things kong gawin or madali lang. Kaya ngayon, yung mga challenging but are really important tasks, nadidelay siya, right? Stay your focus and as much as possible, avoid distraction. Okay? Do your best to avoid distraction. And again, spend time on things that are important. Next, our tip number 3, be proactive. Okay. Ano rin to, part to ng 7 habits. Actually, habit number 1 siya. Okay? You always take initiative. So, paano yan? You're saying na we want to be productive, di ba? And efficient. Pero parang pagiging proactive, dadagdagan pa yung work ko. Actually, that's part of productivity, right? You taking initiatives, right? Doing the right thing even without being asked. Kasi kapag tinakil mo na siya right away, di ka na nag-intay, right? Then, matatapos mo na siya agad. Then, hindi na siya magdadrag. Intayin mo pa na, parang sa iba, di ba? Minsan, na-experience ko rin yan, naging anak din ako once, na intayin mo pa na utusan ka before gawin mo, nakikita mo na may kalat or whatnot. So, take initiative, right? Next, be accountable. Okay, so we have to be accountable of all our actions. Okay, and this is connected to the next one. So we choose our words, right? Our attitudes and moods. So kasi kailangan natin magkaroon ng sense of ownership on everything that we do. Hindi, kasi tayo yan eh, di ba? Hindi naman natin pwedeng sabihin na, ay kasi siya yung mga pointing fingers, blame game, victim mentality. Kailangan nating ialis yan, okay? Kasi kailangan natin i-own lahat ng mga actions and decisions natin in life. Kasi life is all about decisions, right? Yung course nga lang na tinake nyo ng college, whether, feeling nyo na parang napilitan lang kayo or parents nyo, later on in life, you can actually still be able to choose and decide, right? If that's the path that you're going to take. And that's okay, right? Later on, marami pang mga mari-reveal sa inyo. Even, if you're already working, marami pang mga opportunities and things na i-reveal sa inyo and plan for you in your life. Yan. Also, when it comes to choosing our moods, right, avoid procrastination. So, I'm pretty sure narinig nyo na yan. Yung parang, ano natin yan eh, parang meron sinasabi yan sa culture ng Pilipino, yung manyana habit, di ba? Oh, manyana yan, di ba? Later ko natatapusin yan, okay noon? Manonood muna ako ng Netflix. Yan, yung mga mahilig dito sa mga K-series, isa ako dyan, yan. Pero, syempre, kailangan, again, going back to the tip, di ba? Do what you have to do before the things that you want to do. Yan. Next is, next tip that we guys have for you ito. Actually, later in life ko na to natutunan. Quit multitasking. Kasi, nung nag-start ako in the workforce mga 2004, even before pa in college, akala ko multitasking is really good eh. Parang, uy, ano yan? Required na skill set yan para maging successful ka in life, di ba? Or in your career, kailangan masabi mo na, multitasker ako. Actually, later na, as I grew and mature in my roles, right, in my tenure in the company, saka ako na-realize na multitasking pala limits my productivity. Okay? What's happening when you multitask? Okay? So, the opposite of multitasking, and this is what my tip for you is focus on one task at a time. Okay? One task muna. Have your 100% or even 200% focus on that. Tapusin nyo yan. And saka ka mag-move on. Right? Because when you do multitasking, you are prone to accuracy errors. Okay? And mas lalo ka pang tatagal kasi rework ka ng rework. Kasi yung utak mo nasa ibang, bagay. Pero iba-iba tayo ha. Iba-iba tayo ng klase ng tao. Probably multitasking is working for some, diba? But in general, psychologists found out that multitasking actually lowers productivity and efficiency pa nga. Kasi nga, prone tayo sa error. So there, the study says that focus lang tayo one task at a time. And i-complete natin siya. And my last tip for you guys on how we can increase our productivity is learn to say, let me see how I can help. Okay. Probably nagulat kayo, no? Baka ang ini-expect nyo is learn to say no. Yan. Dapat hindi tayo yung hard no. Okay? But let me see how can I help, 'di ba? Kasi in school, right? Part tayo ng big team, right? May mga classmates tayo, mga professors tayo. At the same time, pag pumunta na kayo sa workplace, you will be part of a bigger team. Kahit na sabihin nyo yung department nyo maliit lang or individual contributor ka lang, actually, the entire organization is your team. Oh, may mga ibang companies pa na mayroong site dito sa Manila, merong site sa ibang countries, right? That's a big part of your team, and it's important to build relationship with your teammates or the people that you work with. So hindi pwedeng no ka lang no, 'di ba? Even if it's not you or hindi mo na ma-accommodate yung nire-request nila na favor or task na pinapagawa sa'yo, direct them to the best person or team who is available to help. Yan. So yes, I cannot do it for you right now, but I can actually direct you to the person or the team na possibly available, and let's see, pwede ba paghati-hatian natin, 'di ba? Yung mga small action plans involved on each task, right? Or pwede naman na okay, hindi ko siya magagawa ngayon, pero next week medyo free na ako. So okay ba sa'yo na next week ko siya gagawin kasi meron na akong to-do tracker and meron akong mga priority this week. So it's not a hard no. It's either makipag-agree ka to, squeezing it in your timeline, or yun nga, i-direct natin sila sa best person or team who can help them. Okay, actually those are the 5 tips that I have for you for today on how to boost productivity. And I want to leave you with this quote from Paul Mayer. Paul Mayer is one of the globally renowned author, and he actually is into parang yung mga self-development books. Okay, he said that productivity is never an accident. Okay, it is always the result of a commitment to excellence, intelligent planning, and focused effort. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I actually wish you a very productive day today. Thank you so much, and please follow our career site at jobs180.com/psbtsi. There.
Thank you for
Shari,
that,
meron
Miss
ba tayong
Nina.
mga questions dyan?
Salamat po, Miss Nina. Ma'am, I prepared, habang nag-iisip po sila ng questions nila, nag-prepare po ako ng tanong ko. Yan. So,
Oh,
ma'am,
ayan.
in your experience working with fresh graduates, whether from RTU or from other schools po, would you say na, or how would you best describe them? Would you say they're productive? Would you say they are a team player? Magaling ba sila sa time management? Maybe they'd like to know. Baka
Hmm,
pwede pa nilang i-improve, no?
okay. So, what I love about fresh graduate is, ayun nga, fresh, 'di ba? Napaka-fresh nung outlook nila on seeing things, right? You can have different ideas and different perspective because sometimes kailangan yun eh. Kailangan ng mga fresh ideas and fresh outlook in our workplace kasi sometimes kapag yung mga matatagal na nandun sa company, right, got used to the process na, minsan parang di na natin nakikita ano pa bang pwedeng i-improve, ano pa bang pwedeng i-develop, right, or i-enhance sa mga processes natin. Also, natututo din tayo sa mga fresh graduates when it comes to, okay, kasi baka pag matatagal na, isang linya lang, di ba? Parang meron tayong mga jargons or sarili nating vernacular. So, doon natin nakakita na, ay, ito pala kailangan natin i-adjust kasi baka mismo yung mga customers natin, di ba? Yung mga external partners natin, hindi rin pala siguro nila naiintindihan kasi if the fresh graduate cannot understand it clearly. When it comes to mga qualities ng fresh graduate, right, na kung productive ba sila, right, sa work and all that, I think it varies, di ba? I don't wanna stereotype or generalize everyone kasi iba-iba naman yung personality, right? I would also say na people have different learning curves, right? So
Yeah.
really, it's how you get to know the individual, and sinasabi nga nila, di ba, meron tayong different types of learners, di ba? May mga different types of learners tayo. Merong natututo on hands-on, 'Di ba? May mga
Yeah.
natututo na download lang na, pabasahin mo lang ng module yung mga visual, mga reading and writing, while yung iba mas natututo sila when listening, right? So we should be able to adapt to teach yung mga new hires natin, especially fresh graduate. And what I love about them is, other than the fresh idea and fresh perspective, usually ito yung mga sobrang eager, 'di ba? Ay, sige, talagang very dedicated. Makikita mo yung motivation nila and commitment is really there.
All right. Okay. So, guys, do you have a question? Sorry, ma'am. Um, it just came in from Noel Cabellion. My question po is productivity connected to productivity?
Okay, in my opinion, it is, right? Kasi ang hirap maging productive kapag hindi positive yung outlook mo in
Yes. Opo.
life, 'di ba? So there's one tip that we actually mentioned na we have to be proactive, 'di ba? We have to be able to manage din yung mga moods natin, 'di ba? We choose our moods, our attitude and behavior, right? So kapag lagi kang nasa negative side, di isipin mo na ano ba naman 'to, nautusan na naman ako, ganyan ganyan. Hindi mo alam na tine-develop or tine-train ka pala nung leader mo kaya ka binibigyan ng mas challenging na task, 'di ba? So, andun din dun sa, 'di ba, yung last tip ko na learn how to say, how can I help you? Right?
Yes.
Hindi yung no. Kasi kapag hindi ka positive, edi, ay, hindi ko kayang gawin yan. No ka na agad, di ba? While kapag positive person ka, then, okay, sige, try natin kung paano
Try.
kita matutulungan. Yan. So, yun yung, for me, it's really connected, yung positivity and productivity.
Thank you, Miss Nina. Halatang-halata, ma'am, na matagal na kayo sa training.
Oh, nag-overtime nga ako. Sorry, Shari.
Okay lang, ma'am. Okay, guys, if you have no more questions, thank you again, Miss Nina, for joining us
So
today.
much.
Thank you. We hope to have you again on our sessions po. So please check out PSBTSI in jobs180.com. You can go there, jobs180.com/PSBTSI, or you can go to schools.jobs180.com/RTU, and you will find Miss Nina's company along with the other preferred partners of your school. Ayan. So thank you, Miss Nina,
Thanks,
for being with us.
everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you po.
Shari.
Yan. Alright. Guys, may nag-text. So, requirement daw po ni Sir Dong sa COE na makagawa kayo ng resume link. Ayan. So, text niya. So, please make sure that you guys are done with your resume links. Yan. So, for our third speaker, yan, pangatlong speaker na tayo, pangatlong topic na, we will be having Sir Dennis Supetran from Ernst and Young Philippines. Ayan. So, Sir Dennis is the Talent Development Assistant Director for Ernst and Young Global Delivery Services Philippines. Ayan. So, he brings with him 17 years of experience in supporting the learning and development needs of organizations across all levels. So, Sir Dennis has a Bachelor's of Science degree in Psychology from Ateneo de Manila University, and he is also a certified facilitator for Situational Leadership 2 program from the Can Blanchard companies, as well as the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator program from CPP. Ayan. So, Sir Dennis, if you're there, please join us po.
Hello, Shari. Hello, everyone.
Welcome again. Thank you for being with us. Ayan, sir.
Forward.
Sir, sorry, may farm kasi malapit sa... May
No
farm
worries.
sa likod ko eh.
Yun yung
Ayan. Lahat ng hayop, sir, meron kami dito. Ayan. Sir, our audience today are from RTU. So, halo-halo po sila. So, meron tayo from sciences, meron din tayo from finance. So, yun po yung magiging composition ng audience niyo later. So, let's try sharing your screen, sir, so we can check it if it's working. Yeah. Ayan, sir. It's there. Sir, you know the drill, sir. I will be back in 20 minutes for the Q&A po. Alright, the floor is yours, sir.
So, welcome, everyone. I was looking at the composition and the people from our engineering courses, the people from our courses. So, welcome for talent. uh, by uh, by one of the fortunate rise up help that.
Sir, excuse me. Sir, sorry, hindi po namin kayo marinig. Choppy po yung audio natin.
Alright, hold on.
Choppy, sir. Nagpa-fluctuate yung sound po. Putol-putol.
Ayan, how about now? I
Yan, sir.
switched
Better po.
to
Apo.
audio.
Pero
Alright.
nawawala pa rin siya, sir. Mas maganda yung kanina. Nawawala po.
Okay, how about now?
Yan. Okay na, sir. Better
Ayan.
po.
Alright.
Ah.
Sige. So sometimes again, we're all victims of, our internet connectivity then. So just to give you an idea of what EY GDS is all about and how you can potentially be part of our firm is that, GDS, and this is Global Delivery Services. So it's very similar to the work being done by, our previous speakers in the BPO or business process outsourcing space. But specifically, we are what you call yung captured market, meaning we are helping support EY in all of its endeavors globally. And that's why GDS in itself, we're actually found in 5 different locations in the globe. So all of these locations are servicing each of our respective areas. And if you notice here in the Philippines alone, we've actually grown. We started at around just 500 employees near the end of 2014, and now we've grown to almost 3,000 employees. And we're supporting both all operations of EY globally, ranging from the Americas region, from EMEA region, APAC as well. And so like what our previous speaker Nina was talking about in terms of scheduling, that becomes really important because we're supporting not just local operations where we have almost, I'd say, 70% of our staff working our normal day shift hours. We also have around 30% of our staff right now for GDS Philippines working on various schedules ranging from UK schedule to US schedules as well. Now, what's the difference? EY is actually one of the biggest 4 professional services firms in the globe. So you know those that are from the accountancy space might be familiar with other competitors, right? And here locally, we actually have a local practice partner, and most of you may have heard of SGV and Co. So this is Sisip Gores and Velayo and Company, and they are one of the biggest accounting firms here in the Philippines alone. So they are actually the practice partner, and GDS initially back in 2013 was part of SGV as well. In my career here in EY, and I've been in EY GDS for close to 4 years now. I was part of SGV prior to us separating. So right now in the Philippines, right, we have 2 companies servicing or providing support for EY. We have the local practice firm SGV and Co. and of course the GDS services. And this is where I'd like to invite everyone. Normally people might think EY dapat accounting graduate ka lang or dapat ano ka lang what do you call this automation engineer or whatnot. But we actually provide services in a wide range of industries, ranging from executive assistance services. So these are under enablement services, right? Under MBAL. If you look at it, they're administrative workplace services. So these are executive administrative assistants that help support our principals, partners, and directors across the globe. So anything from budget allocation, trip management, schedule management, right? We also have space for our engineers under our consulting services, where we focus on providing services, whether it's be on software platforms like Oracle, all the way to providing solutions for other industries like shipping, energy. So again, we do employ engineering graduates as well, specifically in the consulting space, and also even to a lesser and greater extent to our assurance and tax services. Now, when I was given the talk for today, and we looked over some of the topics that went before, like positivity of work. Uh, when I looked at the topic provided for me, which is alternative work options, it really came or brought to mind this particular challenge question that we have in EY. So when you talk and when you prepare for those alternative work options, right, that um, you may have, whether it be in EY or in the other companies that have presented prior to me, um, you have to ask yourself, what is your mindset? Ano ba yung attitude mo? Ano ba yung mga behaviors mo when it comes to preparing for your future work, right? And because when we talk about yung skill set niyo, ano yung kaya niyong gawin, ano yung alam niyong gawin, that in itself can be developed over time. But what's harder to change and what's harder to prepare for, and where you need to, maybe put in a lot more effort now as you're beginning your career, right? Is really look at your mindset. And when you think about those alternative work options, ano ba yung kailangan yung i-prepare so that you're best set for success, whether, the company that you eventually apply for only allows for like, in-office operations, or maybe, you're fortunate enough to find a company that's made that pivot or made that shift to providing that remote work option, right? How do you prepare for yourself? And that's why there are just some three quick tips that I have for each of you, so that you can prepare for whatever work options you find. So what's the first one? Prepare your remote workplace. Now, oftentimes, diba, some of you might think, pero kasi mechanical engineering degree ko or you have electronic engineering. So most likely, majority of the work, kailangan on-site, or you have to be in an office setting. But one of the things that a lot of companies right now, and there was actually a survey that EY did across 4,000 employees and employers globally. And what they found is that there's 3 points of intersection, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But when it comes to those points of intersections where employees and employers agree on, one of those things that came out from that global survey was that both employees and employers recognize that additional measures have to be taken into consideration or put into place for the employees' welfare. So let me repeat that. Of yung survey na yon that EY conducted globally across 4,000 individuals and employers, what showed up in that survey is that employers and employees, so parehas sila, both of them agreed, they need to take into account employee safety. And so when we look at that, ano yung mga impact nun? More and more employers are looking at alternative work options. How much of our work back can be done remotely? How much can be or must be done physically? Right? And even those that are being asked to do physical or on-site work, what are additional safety precautions can we do for them? Can we do it in rotating shifts so that they don't always have to be exposed to the dangers, especially now in the Philippines, right? Not everyone has that option to have private transportation, right? And so most of us, especially with the lifting of quarantine measures or travel restrictions, will be relying on those public transportation options, whether it be a jeepney, uh, yung mga tricycles, jeeps, point-to-point buses, will be relying on that. And so, some companies are looking at rotating shifts in order to increase worker safety, right? So if, for example, when we're talking about your remote workplace or your remote workstation, it's best to prepare it before you know what's available, right? In my case, right, in my personal and professional career, I've always, taken the lessons I've learned when I was Boy Scout, right? Better to have it and not need it rather than need it and not have it. Mas mabuting prepared ka na, right? You have your remote workspace set up rather than saka mo lang malaman na kailangan mo pala ng, or pwede ka pala mag-work remotely and not have it in place, right? So that's the number one tip I have for everyone. Prepare your remote workplace, right? Second, look for companies that have strong and deeply rooted values. And the reason for this is because yung mga decisions na gagawin nila whether it be, employee welfare, whether it be, giving each and every one of you that option to work remotely, right? And thus increase your protections for yourself and for your family. Companies that have strong and deeply rooted values more often make those decisions, yung business decisions sila based off of those values. And that's why when you're looking for companies to join or to apply for, that's one thing that I would strongly recommend you look at. Right? Lastly is, and this is complementing what was the previous speaker, because I was able to, catch her presentation as well, what Nina was talking about. In terms of you looking at what you can provide, ano ba yung compelling value contribution? Ano ba yung pwede mo ma-contribute sa company? And again, this is where we'll take a look at not just yung specific technical skills, because again, as fresh graduates, you might not have that work experience that you can contribute right away. But what you can prepare for and what you may already have while you were in school, while you were in university, are actually transferable skill sets. Meaning, ito yung mga skill sets na regardless of what work you're doing, magagamit mo sila. Because those can provide that compelling value and will ensure that when that company, or whether, let's say, for example, EY looks at you and looks at your resume and looks at what you've been able to accomplish, and more importantly, look at what you can contribute, makikita nila yung mga transferable skills na yun. Okay? So we'll start out with the first one. So when you take a look at the remote workspace, and most of you may have looked at it, most of you may have already begun setting it up. But one thing to remember here is that, setting up your remote workspace does not have to be expensive. Okay, so let me repeat that. Setting up your remote workspace does not have to be expensive. But what it needs to ensure and you focus on is you avoid yung mga physical setups where these particular posture or stress-related injuries can happen. And so when you look at, and this was a survey conducted by the Osteopathic Association in the US, right? These are the 4 most common stress-related injuries. And so pag iniisip nyo kung paano nyo isa-set up yung remote workspace nyo, you can actually make use of your existing materials or your existing space. Meaning, hindi mo naman kailangan bumili ng ergonomic chair. You don't have to buy, those very expensive rising desks or yung mga elevating desks. Right? You can create your own remote workspace, but by keeping in mind these basic principles. So, ano yung makikita mo dito? Yung biggest is really the lower back. And so, providing the, support for your lower back, or looking for a place or location in the house where you can sit up straight and have support. And remember, there's a lot of materials up there that can provide you those low-cost options in terms of providing lower back support. It could be as simple as placing a pillow behind your back. Diba? And most of you that have had some working experience can oftentimes see those, diba? In some offices, makikita mo, may unan sila. And not just for, their lower back, it serves a dual purpose. Pag break time, they can also use it as, again, a quick nap time. So again, it doesn't have to be an expensive, setup for you. Now, what's the next most common one? Yung neck. And this is where you have to consider, ano ba yung elevation, right? So later in the next slide, we'll take a look at what are some of the basic principles so that you can help avoid those 2 biggest contributors, and the others like your shoulder, your wrist, it will follow, especially if you look at the next slide. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the next slide. So when you're thinking about your workstation, there's several things that you have to consider. So first off, ano ba yung pinaka-basic niya? So first off, having that support for your lower back. Oftentimes, and that's why if you notice earlier, diba, ano yung top 2? One is the lower back injuries, and second is the neck injuries or yung stress injuries, right? Because oftentimes, the natural tendency is when we're looking down too much, automatically, bumababa na rin yung buong katawan natin. And that's why here, when you look at this very simple diagram, just using these basic tools lang, diba? So first off, when you're sitting, dapat yung upuan mo, it's enough so that your knees are 90% and that your back has enough support. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to, you buy those or you get those seats na merong neck support. If you can afford it, great. If not, hindi siya needed. Kasi nga, like what's mentioned here, the neck is usually, what you call this, the neck support is not needed if your neck is already at a natural angle. Meaning, when you're looking straight at the monitor screen, it's at eye level, meaning hindi ka na yumuyuko nun, right? So again, it could be as simple as propping up or getting, maybe you have spare wood around the house. Maybe you or your relative, or in the case of those of you that are still living with your friends and family, maybe they have, some pieces of wood that can be just as easily, cut up and set up to provide an elevated platform. Again, hindi mo kailangan gumastos to have an ergonomic workstation set up. And at this day and age, diba, where a lot of us are working remotely, oftentimes if you place your video camera strategically, it doesn't matter whether or not you have a fancy table or you have a basic table. What's important is that you're comfortable, because when you're comfortable, it's easy to be positive at work. It's easy to be productive, like what the previous speaker was talking about. What's the next one, right? So when you're typing in terms of your keyboard, and you'll notice here, yung basic guideline yan is dapat naka 90-degree angle. So if hindi kaya, let's say for example, your table's too high, then maybe look at how you can elevate your seats. Diba? Again, it doesn't need to be the case that you buy those yung mga telescoping or hydraulic chairs. It could be as simple as, okay, maglagay ka ng cushions, right? So that you can elevate your seating position. It could be as simple as, maybe putting planks of wood underneath your seat and then putting the cushion. Right? Kasi syempre, di ba, pag masyado maraming cushion, it becomes unstable. But if you're looking at just adding those base layers and then having just one layer of cushion for your seat, so that you arrive at that optimal seating position. So it's really just very simple things like that. One of the things that I've invested in, and even during the beginning of the lockdown, is really buying like a wireless mouse and a wireless keyboard. So that way, yung laptop ko naka-prop up siya, or I have like what you call this, yung laptop stand, right? It brings it up to eye level, but I don't necessarily have to type. Kasi usually, di ba, yung mga what you see for yung mga laptop risers, it puts it at an angle. Sometimes for extended periods of time, it's not advisable, it's not ergonomic to be typing directly on the laptop. And that's where, again, having those wireless, investment in wireless devices can pay dividends. And you can even get those multiple or multiple device keyboards or multiple device mouse, right? Na works whether it's Bluetooth or yung USB receiver. That way, you have all of those options available for you. So again, you can see, you just have to be strategic in terms of choosing what options to set up. Now, what's another thing? When you're setting up your remote station, look for locations inside the house where you can have that, again, privacy and less distractions. Now, external distractions like, having chickens, dogs, car alarms, right? Those are, again, occupational hazard for everyone, right? And there may not much we can do about it. But what we can do is, like, for example, in this case, my workstation here at home, I've made sure that I'm facing a blank wall. So that way, I don't have to worry about anyone, passing by, may kukunin, right? And again, some of us may not have that luxury of having a separate room inside our house, right, to set up our remote office. Some of us, are just working in our, living rooms or in our bedrooms, right? Whatever the case may be. But again, you can put in additional or advanced preparations. Choose a corner. Choose, a well-lighted location. In my case, I'm beside the window, so I have natural light coming in, and so I don't have to rely on additional ring lights, right? Or again, if the case may be, and some of you may have seen that, social media post, diba? There's this dad, I forgot where the province was exactly. So what they did para soundproof talaga yung room because his son was working as a call center agent, they took yung mga empty egg cartons, diba? Yung mga cartons that you get when you buy yung mga tray ng eggs sa palengke, they use that as sound insulation. And again, it doesn't cost a lot, right? So when you're setting up your remote workstation, it will help set you up for success. And majority of the companies nowadays, they're also conducting their interviews virtually. And that's where, again, previous topics that we had with jobs180.com. And I hope that you also take the opportunity to avail and join those future sessions as well, right? They talked about, how most of the interviews are being done virtually. So what's the second one? Look for companies that have deeply rooted values. And because again, yung mga decisions na gagawin ng mga companies na yun, and I'll share the example that we've had for EY, is really based off of those values. So for example, for EY, our values always has been focused on our people, right? And so when we make decisions, and even prior to yung COVID-19 health pandemic, we already made decisions off of that. So for example, because we wanted people to be, synergetic, have that dynamic option, diba, to work in teams, because some teams hindi naman siya dedicated team. Some teams are project based, some teams are client engagement based, and so those team members may change over time. So one of the things that we set up even before the health pandemic was ensuring that everyone has a laptop. So there are some individuals in EYGDS that had desktops because again they needed the extra processing power. Maybe they're also doing graphic design, graphic edits, and so require that additional power, right? But by and far, 100% or 98% of our staff in EYGDS Philippines are working on from laptops. And so when the government announced the first lockdowns early in March, right? And if you remember all the way back, diba? March 16 was their first announced quarantine period na nun. By end of March, 98% of our staff, and that we were at around 2,000 already at that time, we were already able to transition to almost 100%. We only had like less than 10 people working in our on-site offices in Taguig. And so when you think about it, and even globally, diba? Globally, EY has close to around 300,000 employees. We're able to convert all recruitment and even onboarding activities. So in our case, right, for GDS Philippines, we had our first batch of new hire employees that we onboarded end of March, and it was 100% virtual. So all of our sessions right now, even yung mga talent development or L&D sponsored programs, right? Whether it be project planning, whether it be having difficult conversations or coaching modules or uh, coaching model sessions are already done virtually, right? So when you think about it, it's because we were already looking at making business decisions based off of the values. And so when and if you go all the way back to January 2020, right, when we had the Taal volcano start its explosion, right, or begin its or have that explosion, right, back in January 2020, we were able to shift very quickly to virtual working arrangements. And so when you look at those companies, right, most companies that are able to make that shift to allowing or providing those virtual work options for their employees usually made those decisions not just because it made good business sense, but it also made good sense in terms of the values that they had. So that's one thing that I can suggest when you're looking for those, additional companies. That's why when you look at, the opportunities for EY, whether it be assurance, consulting, even CBS, we have a wide range of, positions. And, we hope that each and every one of you, right, take advantage of that and visit the Jobs 180 site, because again, aside from what we have here, we do have additional additional openings available. Right now, what's the last one? Looking at how you can provide a compelling value contribution. Ano ba yung maibibigay ano ba yung maiko-contribute nyo dun sa company na PPDin nyo. And there's two things I want to talk about it. So first off is look, study, read, discuss about in future of work. Oftentimes, companies, some companies are ahead in others in terms of making that pivot, as I mentioned earlier, yung making that shift na how do we implement, how do we provide those alternative work options for our employees. There are other companies naman that are just beginning to have that shift. Maybe because, it's only now with the more relaxed quarantine status or quarantine measures, ngayon pa lang sila nakakapag-meeting, right? Nakakapunta sa office and see how their business is set up, see how they can, shift the type of work that they're providing for their clients. And so when you talk about, study reading and how do you prepare, because again, as, new employees to a company, yun yung titingnan ng company sa inyo eh. Ano ba yung mga ideas ninyo, right? Whether it be about that first bullet point, how can you learn more in less time, right? Ano ba yung mga habits that you set for yourselves that make you learn faster, right? Because again, most of the companies, especially those that are just beginning to start their operations after, that extended period of lockdown, all right, are looking to, increase yung business delivery pace, meaning trabaho ka agad, right? And so when you're joining those companies, how can you help them by setting up habits and setting up behaviors that allow you to learn more, right, or quicker, right? Second, what aspect of your work and career can be done remotely, right? And again, this is where you can make the most use of your browsing time. So a lot of you may be, browsing for job opportunities. Some of you might be browsing for leisure. But again, take time, make the time to look at those topics that rely or that talk about changes or advances in your area, right? Like maybe in mechanical engineering, if it's in manufacturing, right? If it's factory operations, what are some of the things that have been advances? Are there remote? Are there software options available that allow for remote monitoring of these manufactured machines so that you have less time that you need to be on site, right? And lastly, be flexible and be agile. Be flexible in terms of, what work options will be provided to you, but also be agile enough to provide and to take advantage of alternative work options when they do appear. Right? Now, what's the second point I wanted to talk about? How do you prepare to show what value can you add or can you contribute to the company that will be joining? First off is look at your current skill set. And here we'll talk about two things, non-transferable skills and transferable skills. Yung non-transferable skills, usually ito yung mga very specific to your field, very specific to yung systems na gamit ng kumpanya in that field, right? So those are usually non-transferable because, not all, let's say maybe not all companies have access to Oracle databases, right? Or not all companies use SAP systems as, their software infrastructure, right? So those are some examples of non-transferable skills. But what are some transferable skills? And this is where I, invite each and every one of you to look at not just what you've done during your OJT, but even during your time, whether it be, actually, you can even go all the way back to, your elementary, high school, and even your college, club activity or your extracurricular activities. Because when you look at these transferable skills and what we're seeing a trend, and even from an EY perspective, we're looking more and more at right now is how many of the new hires that we're considering, how many applicants that are applying for job positions right now have these transferable skills. And this could be as simple as project management, right? And remember, you can get these transferable skills whether it be in a work context or a non-work context. What's an example? Let's say active ka sa community mo. During the quarantine period, you also help organize community efforts, whether it barangay, whether it be in your religious community like church, right? Nag-help organize ka ng relief efforts for some of the more what do you call this, impoverished families in your communities, those that have lost their jobs and so hindi sila makabili ng pagkain. Maybe you help with that project. Maybe you're one of the organizers. That in itself is a transferable skill. Uh, could be as simple as, let's say, for example, um, with your extended family, because we cannot have our family gatherings. Maybe ikaw, because you're, very tech savvy, ikaw yung nag-organize ng FB meetings for your family to celebrate birthdays, to celebrate anniversaries, right? And maybe right now, because we're nearing November and everyone and the government has already announced, diba, for most of the, what do you call this, memorial gardens and also our cemeteries will be closed during yung time of Undas to help avoid people going to the cemeteries in bulk, and again providing a potential health scenario where COVID-19 spreads further, right? So maybe because of that, you've organized yung mga what do you call this, commemorative or online family gatherings, so that you can maybe light candles, maybe remember yung mga loved ones in you that passed away this coming Undas. Those are samples of transferable skills. And, when you do your interviews, those are skills that you can highlight. Don't think na, ay, kasi family lang naman yun eh. But remember, what you've displayed, yung mga behaviors, yung mga learnings na nakuha mo dun sa mga situations on organizing as simple things as family gatherings, those are actual transferable skills, right? What's the other items that you may want to look at? Are you familiar already with new and upcoming platforms? Like, for example, Microsoft 360. There are a lot of tools that Microsoft 360 is now providing for free, right? And so most companies, whether they, even if they have just the basic Microsoft, license, those tools are available to them. But then, maybe yung employees nila aren't using those, tools. And so you, now that you have time while you're looking for that first company to join, you can read up, you can learn more about these Microsoft 360 tools, right? Again, digital media, you might other collaboration platforms, right? Like, for example, MS Teams. A lot of companies right now, even in our company at the beginning of the lockdown period, we had to invest a lot in terms of getting people to learn more about how to use Microsoft Teams. And even at this point, 8 months into our quarantine status in Manila, we're still focusing a lot of our sessions to give people tips and tricks on how to make use of MS Teams as an online collaboration platform. And so it's, this is the best time for you to learn more about those platforms, whether it be Zoom, for example, just SteamYard alone, when I started doing all of these, Jobs 180 talks, that was an opportunity for me as well to learn more about the SteamYard platform. And it could be something that, even our company can take or make use of in the future. So again, you have a lot of those options. And this is the best time for you to take advantage of those options, right? Because again, when it becomes point, and especially since hindi ka pa nakakapasok sa isang company, right? It's best to look at, how do you increase your transferable skills, and by doing those two things, making sure you're up to date in terms of what's happening in your professional space, whether it be in the engineering space, or whether it be in the accounting space, or whether it be in other spaces like psychology, education, right? Increase your transferable skills, because those are things that you can take, whether it's in a personal context, or when you're now applying it in a business context. And let's say, for example, when you're working in those companies or in EY in particular. Right? So those are the top 3 tips that I have for everyone. So thank you so much. I hope that we can invite you to take a look at the job openings, and you can look at it through the portal jobs180.com EYGDS. And if you want to learn more about EYGDS, what it is, what's the type of work that we do, where can you find your place in EY, you can check out the EY career site, where it gives you a better idea of EY as a whole, and not just what we're doing here in the Philippines, but globally as well. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope everyone has a great rest of the week, and I hope that you and your families continue to be safe and healthy. So, Shari,
Thank you, Sir Dennis. Ayan. Naantay ko ipasok ako. Ayan, sir. Sir, so we're waiting for the questions from our
Mhm.
audience. But for the meantime, I prepared a couple of questions. So, question number one. Uh, right now, sir, yung internship po kasi, hindi lahat ng schools ay may parang hindi nila kayang isend yung interns nila out to companies, out
Mm-mm.
to employers. So, how would OJT experience or how would internship experience look like right now? Like after the pandemic, can they substitute or can they focus on transferable skills muna as opposed to technical skills? Like for the meantime lang, after lang ng pandemic.
All right. So thank you so much. That's a very interesting question. Kasi nga, usually when you're talking about, OJT periods, most companies usually would put OJTs in, non operational critical or non restricted information jobs, right? And so even in EY right now, we've paused or put the pause on our OJT program simply because again, how do we provide the materials to them, diba? And especially since most are doing work virtually, diba? Syempre, you have to consider yung security options, ganon. So what I can recommend is really look for those opportunities, diba? For example, online organizations. For those of you, yung mga new graduates, diba? Na-identify nyo na ba yung mga professional organizations that you'd like to invest your time in? Kasi most of the time, those professional organizations have ongoing projects, whether it be like yung mga online forums like this, that you can actually participate in. And so that those are avenues where, kahit hindi ka pa makapag-OJT mismo, you're already building up business-related skills. Kasi lalo na, you're doing it in your own professional space. Right?
Alright. So, thank you for that, Sir Dennis. So, guys, wala na ba tayong tanong? So, going once, going twice. Okay. So, Sir Dennis, again, thank you for being with us today. So, thank you for accepting our invitation
Mhm.
po para mag-share kayo. And we learned a lot. So, I hope you guys too. You guys did too. So, thank you for being here, sir. If you guys want to check out vacancies for recent young global delivery service, you can check out jobsinc.com/EYGTS, or you can go to schools.jobsinc.com/RTU, and you will find Ernst and Young Global Delivery Service along with the other company partners of yours. So thank you po, Sir Dennis, for taking the time to
Thank you.
share po. Thank you, sir. Stay safe po.
Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Have a great day, sir. Alright, so thank you guys for tuning in. So tapos na po tayo sa ating tatlong topics. Again, we are inviting you all to come to the October 27, 2 to 4 p.m. webinar. That's for Mandaluyong and Pasig companies. So ang i-feature natin doon ay mga employers na actively hiring sa area ng Mandaluyong and Pasig. Ayan. So para kung may mga tina-target kayong companies, gusto nyo magtanong sa kanila diretso, so you can go there, you can come there, you can come join the discussion. You will be a part of our panel discussion at makakapagtanong kayo diretso sa kanila. Nag-text si Sir Dong. So sabi niya, kailangan ko daw i-reiterate that you guys have to attend the October 27 session. So the registration link for that will be posted on the Facebook page. So makikita din rin doon yung topics na i-discuss natin. More on online identity, leadership skills, tsaka work opportunities yung i-discuss natin. So iba naman siya. Okay? So again, thank you po for being here. Salamat sa mga gumising ng maaga. Please check out our Facebook page for all of those other webinars that you want to join in. Again, open po yun lahat. So, pwede mag-register lang kayo at pwede na kayo mag-attend. Okay? So, thank you guys. See you again and have a great afternoon. See you on the October 27 session. Thank you!